This morning, no dullness. So I practiced awareness with no dullness. Last night, dullness. So I practiced awareness with dullness. So the effort I needed last night was different than the effort I needed this morning, obviously. So each situation is different. So if you say right effort is some one thing, not really, because life is dynamic and each situation has a different set of circumstances and the mind is in different energy forms or whatever. So right effort, you might say, well, how can I sustain a kind of intelligent awareness of the foreground without getting lost in the foreground and honor the background, something like that. So the foreground last night was a lot of dullness. And then, okay, that's okay. How are you going to stay aware of dullness? Simple enough. And then you're either successful or not successful. And the bell rings. And then you start with some kind of, and this morning it was different. So that, I think that idea of awareness with, I find very, very helpful. Then you're not, like awareness with dullness has a different Vedana. So the Vedana of dullness is not, it's not attractive, whereas the Vedana of energy might be attractive, but the Vedana of energy might be too much, and it's like restlessness. It might be. So we're not, we're one of the basic things we're learning to do is to be aware with Vedana. So if the Vedana is unpleasant, okay. If the Vedana is pleasant, okay. And that's, of course, where Tanha comes forward. Phassa, Vedana, Tanha, Upadana in the Paticca Samuppada. Phassa is contact, Vedana is feeling, Tanha is craving, Upadana then is becoming attachment, and then Bhava and the whole idea of rebirth. So if you like, one of the ways to practice is just with Vedana, pleasant and unpleasant, just right there. But much of life is neutral. It has no real valence, as we say. It hasn't a powerful sense of attractive or unattractive. And that's usually when we kind of just start thinking. We want to entertain the mind. So much of our Vedana is very, very neutral and seemingly very, very boring. But if you're with the background and the mind wants to do something, say, you want to create something or figure something out, then even that you begin to notice, but still trying to do something. And these are more subtle things. But so that's one thing, practice. It's just language, I know, but it's a way of trying to get across for me, the ideas which are very fundamental to development of spiritual life. So there's that. Then letting things become conscious. That's a way of thinking about it. So if I let's say let's do some body meditation this morning, but if I say become conscious of the feeling in your mouth. So that idea of waiting, you localize your attention and then you wait and something comes alive. And then in that waiting, you're not looking for a particular experience. It doesn't matter if there is a strong sensation, there isn't, but you're emphasizing awareness. So going back to last night's question about Marananusati, I think we're doing Marananusati. Amaro, what does that mean? Amaravati, what does that mean? It's not Maranavati or Marano. That'd be a terrible name, wouldn't it? Marano. But it's Amaro, and Amaro is the unborn. So, just thinking about that question last night, maybe one way you could talk about what we're doing here. I don't know if it's a canonical definition, but I don't really care so much. But Amaranusati, it's about the unborn. That's what we're inclining towards. So when I say like I'm aware with something, I'm emphasizing the awareness, and the with something can be pleasant or unpleasant. If I'm emphasizing the pleasant, which we do biologically, we need to be safe, but also we do habitually because we like pleasure, we don't like displeasure. And then we get kind of locked into patterns of holding to pleasure and getting rid of displeasure. So like say my arm here, I've figured it out how it doesn't hurt. Of course, I don't move it. I just go this much. This morning, taking my shower, I moved it back and I went from 0 pain to 1,000,000 pain. It was so painful. So just instantly, right? So what happens is the bodily habit I'm getting already is protected. Like, don't move. And you just kind of do it instinctively. So I wonder also these kind of patterns we get stuck in our minds, where we're always seeking the pleasant and getting rid of the unpleasant. Again, biologically, if you have pain, you have to move out of it. If you're hungry, you need to eat. If you're not safe, you seek safety. So we have a kind of biological necessity to follow pleasure. But if that is the only way we operate, then because of our nature as psychological beings and beings who can control resources and beings who have powerful memory, we can get very locked into pleasure and pain cycles. And that's not liberating because pleasure is not permanent, so on and so forth. So I think when we do a practice of awareness with, pain feels this way, pleasure feels that way, we're emphasizing the unborn part of that experience. The born part is pain and pleasure. The unborn part is the knowing, is the awareness. Same way, perhaps, with making conscious, that idea, making conscious something. It doesn't matter. Like if I asked you to be aware of your eyes, it doesn't really matter what your eyes feel like. The eyes are in awareness. And then you wait. And in that waiting, you're actually emphasizing the knowing, awareness, rather than the object. So add that up, moment by moment, moment by moment, moment by moment, 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, your home ground becomes much, much more the puru rather than the pleasure or pain cycle. And I think that has to be, I guess, encouraged or remembered, encouraged constantly, because the other habit, the habit of just holding my arm in a certain way so I don't have displeasure, as it were, it's a good thing to do that. But the other habit of always trying to get rid of the unpleasant, going to the pleasant, that's so ingrained in us, from childhood. And then that ingrained behavior is also psychological, like what our culture approves of or what our parents think we should be. And so it's pleasure and pain is not just about, sense things. It's about psychological things too. So if you think of my example of my own fears, it was pleasurable to run away from the fear and distract the fear and not look at the fear. That was pleasant, but the result was not good because it just perpetuated the fear. So then going against the habit of running away or repressing fear meant that I had to feel the unpleasantness of fear. But if I'm practicing awareness with fear, with the unpleasant, I'm emphasizing the awareness, then the habit of, in my case, fear and self-consciousness and so on, that habit arises, but it begins to die because it's no longer believed and it's no longer fed. So these two forms of language I find really useful, just awareness with this or making conscious, letting this become conscious. So let's do some, I think earlier on I did a practice where we were aware of our head and then I went down to the heart. Maybe we can try some of that and see how that works. But keep in mind those two references, practice with, awareness with, and letting something become conscious. Okay, so take a posture, sound, awareness with sound. Let sound become conscious. Awaken to the feelings in your mouth. Let the feelings in the mouth come into consciousness and awareness with those feelings. The ears, the outer structures, and the ear canals. And notice that the awareness is, the still knowing is the same, whether it's the mouth or the ears. The nose, bridge of the nose, let that become conscious. So like receptive waiting, and the nostrils. So attention is localized, but awareness is open to that. So if you're concentrating on the nose, you're probably squeezing your eyes. Make conscious the feelings in the eyes, the orbits, the bony parts. So this is awareness with bodily sensation. And the eyes themselves. Now, if you're doing this and you're falling asleep, then you have to keep your eyes open. Otherwise, you just fall asleep. So the eyes themselves. Temples. Make conscious the feelings in the temples. Follow the optic nerve from the eyes back into the brain. See if anything is felt there inside the skull. So you're not looking for a feeling, you're letting feelings manifest, coming to you. Feel the top of the head. Feel the back of the head as sensation, as vibration, pressure. Let it come to you. As you do this, do you clench your hands? Do your hands get tense? Do your shoulders get tense? Now feel the whole head as one mass of sensations and vibrations in awareness. So the head is in awareness, not a concept. Down to the neck, feel the back of the neck. Feel the sides of the neck. Feel the throat, inside the throat. Now take a few deep breaths. Breathe deeply just because it's easy to get dull with this kind of instruction. And straighten your posture. So awareness with a straight posture. Open the chest. Push the hara forward. Reach up to the top of the ceiling, to the ceiling. So awareness with tall posture. And a deeper breath. So be aware of your posture as you're doing this. Bring attention to the center of your chest. On the in-breath, think of someone who you love or who you respect or where it's easy to think thoughts of gratitude. Name the person, visualize them on the in-breath. So if I think of Luangpor Viradhammo, Luangpor, and that touches the sense of gratitude and love I have for him. Name the perception. So in-breath at the chest, Luangpor. Out breath, may you be well. So now awareness with thoughts of kindness. Staying at the chest. If you get sleepy, just make the breath deeper. Keep your eyes open. And just keep repeating that phrase, that image. Switch to another person, another name. And let go of that. Now feel the sensations in your shoulders. So the hearts are open, it's an open attitude. Keep your posture tall. The shoulders, the left shoulder, make conscious the left shoulder. The upper arm, left side. The lower arm, left hand. So the whole arm and hand as one mass of sensations in awareness. The right shoulder, let that become conscious as feeling. The upper arm, elbow, right side, forearm, right wrist, and right hand. From shoulder to hand, right side, let that be conscious as feeling. in awareness. Feel both shoulders, both arms, both hands, a mass of vibrations, not a concept. And feel your chest, feel the skin with the clothing, front of the chest. Let that be conscious. Feel the sides, the skin and the sides of the chest, and feel the upper back. Upper spine, upper rib cage, lungs, heart. This whole mass of sensations. Awareness with bodily sensation. Feel the lower abdomen, or feel the abdomen, skin, lower spine, rib cage, lower heart, and the organs, the intestines, stomach, liver, kidneys, and so on. So just a mass of vibrations and sensations in awareness. And notice the awareness doesn't really move. There's always that still knowing. Pelvic region, pelvic bones, skin, and the organs in the pelvic region. In awareness. And awareness doesn't change. Feel the hips, feel the left hip, feel the left thigh, let that become conscious. Left knee, lower leg, and left foot. From hip to foot, mass of sensations in awareness. And the right side, the right hip. And the right thigh. Right knee, lower leg, ankle, foot. From the right hip to the right foot, one mass of sensations in awareness. Be the awareness. Step back, as it were. Notice the whole body. From toe to head. Not as concept. Changing vibrations in awareness. Be that awareness. Listen to sound. Perceive sound as in awareness. Feel the body, bodily feelings perceived in awareness. Bodily feelings, objects in awareness. Sound, objects in awareness. Be that awareness. So I'll leave it there and do what you like with that. And we'll just sit quietly for the rest of the session.